Sitcoms are all around us. Sitcoms have been with us since the beginning. Without sitcoms, comedy would just be empty. Without the evolution of sitcoms, the whole world wouldn't be the same place it is. A lot of comedians, a lot of very famous actors and actresses all started out in the world of sitcoms. You've had studio sitcoms, and now we've got a new evolution of sitcoms, which live in a world where we don't need the audience in the room laughing, but we have the audience at home laughing. This is a documentary series where I'm looking into the details and give facts and play clips from interviews, from clips and trailers, from expanding media of official podcasts into fans of the show, and just talk about general bits about the show. And so, welcome to the wonderful world of sitcoms. I'm your host, Tom Mason. Roll intro. Ghosts was created by the team behind Yonderland and Bill. They all first met when they worked on the BBC children's programme Horrible Histories, because some of them were writing the show and some of them were performing in the show at the very beginning. Then they all formed to rehearse and play in the show. The group behind Yonderland and Bill, according to fans, and probably officially at this point, but I'm not too sure, are called the Six Idiots. The show's pilot was completely different from what the show became. The pilot were never aired and doesn't sound like the pilot will ever surface across the internet. In 2023, comedian and presenter Tom Mason made his own YouTube show based off the show.
Hello, Ghost fans, and welcome to Tom Mason's 19th YouTube channel. Woohoo! So, on this channel, you will see videos about UK version of Ghosts, was the original version. Videos such as how did I get into Ghosts? What was the Ghost pilot like? As in, we'll Google the information, we'll collect a lot of information online, use that image and inspect it and go, was that pilot any good? We'll give a fair review of the US version. What I mean by that is, instead of going, oh, it's rubbish, I hated it, I saw this on it. I've seen the first two series, they're available and that exist anywhere. And I'm going to go through the show and detail what I didn't like about it, what I did like about it, my overall opinion, and how it could have been better, and how could the UK version use elements from it. What I want to say before we go any further is here's how this all went down. So, this is how I found Ghosts. I'll tell you my origin story. So, I was eating my breakfast, watching, I opened the YouTube app, and I saw this clip, and I was like, oh. So I clicked onto it, I wondered what it was. And I saw that it was Jim Howick as Pat, but I didn't know it was Pat or it was Jim at the time. And I thought, I didn't know that. When did Horrible Histories do a Scout character? So I YouTube Horrible Histories Scout. And then nothing came up. And so that it was from a program called Ghosts. So this one, the first series, was out. So I went on to the BBC iPlayer and watched it. I spent either a week or that too, or a few weeks watching it. I can't remember exactly. But I watched the first series and I was hooked. And then I watched the second series. Then I got hooked, and here I am now. On my other YouTube channel, because as you know, this is channel number 19. On my third channel, The Weird Side, I made Tom's TV show reviews on the show. So, which is my main TV reviewing series. So I reviewed I reviewed the first lot, the first two series, and the first three or something. Series 1 and 2, I reviewed it once. The review series 3, the review series 4. I did a separate video about my theories on the fourth series. When the news broke about the US version, I made a remakes video on that, which was a series that I did that's now called Remakes from Around the World, where I talked about the news we had and whether or not that was a good thing or not. And then I made a podcast called a bit of a rewrite, a 60 days podcast, yes. And I did it after one episode, I cancelled it. But then I brought it back, so it's still in session, which is a podcast all about the Six Idiots, about the stuff they've done together, such as Horrible Histories, Yonderland, Bill and Ghost, and the things they've done separately, such as Detectorists, Back Bear, Being in Split, and all the other shows they've done by themselves, whether or not they're in it fully or as cameos.
What you just heard there was the introduction to Tom Mason's 19th YouTube channel, comedian, presenter, and all-round entertainer, Tom Mason's 19th YouTube channel, Button House Confidential, with the airy introduction video called A Ghostly Introduction. On that channel, on that video, it represented what was going to happen on that channel and how Tom found ghosts in the very first place. Now, you're about to hear a few questions from the BFI event where they were talking about the Christmas special that aired before Series 3.
And what I just love about the show is that it's so funny, but also there are those really lovely little poignant moments, aren't there? I mean, I'm thinking about, the whole backstory for Lady Button that we see today, and you can see there's already potentially more to come in the future if there were to be such a moment. But
I think they're some of our favourite moments to write, aren't they? When we find that kind of balance between the poignancy and the funny, to kind of give the characters heart, and the backstories are so important for that. So I think it's lovely to be able to show that. And for me with Fanny, I think because she's so kind of stuffy and maybe quite unlikable at times. Genuinely. That it's nice. I think I felt happy that we were going to explore why she became the way she is, and the fact that she didn't start that way. She's a frustrated, a lost soul. Like, she was pushed into something to kind of save the name of her family. And if it had gone down a different path, she'd have been a different person. And I think that's really a nice thing to be able to show.
And actually, in the most recent series, Lolly, your character Kitty, there's a similar, really heartbreaking, actually, when it comes down to it, kind of backstory going on there, as well as behind all that joy.
Yeah, it was sort of too sad, actually, I thought. in hindsight, we shouldn't have done it. On the day of filming it, it was very emotional seeing Kitty in that headspace, I guess. But it makes you love her more, I guess, seeing her go through all of that tragedy.
Yeah.
It makes you hate Emma City, unfortunately.
There's something incredibly poignant about seeing the ghosts in either a coat or a different wear. I remember when Ben was filming the moment where he, in the earlier ep, when he buries the envelope, and he had his sort of dress coat on and his hat and his pipe, and it was actually quite emotional seeing him in different clothes.
It's like me having trousers when I'm
and Simon in his jeans, obviously.
Great day.
That was an interview that happened at the BFI in London, the British Film Institute. Fans of the show have been very vocal about how excited, how saddened, and how overall enthused they are every time the show returns. The most popular character from what I've seen is Pat Butcher, played by Jim Howick. The plot of Ghosts is as follows. Alison and Mike have found out that Alison has inherited a giant house called Button House off an aunt, a relation that she's never met before. Mike and Alison are happy about it, and they all think, woohoo, we're going to go and live in this house. They decide to look at this house and move in right away. Little did they know that it was haunted with friendly ghosts. Julian, played by Simon Farmby, Pat, played by Jim Howick, the captain, played by Ben Wilbond. I can't think of his name, but the headless one, played by Lawrence Ricard, or as everyone calls him, Larry. L'Oreal Thorpe is Kitty. Katie Wicks as Mary. Lawrence Ricard as Robin the Caveman. And Fanny, played by Martha.
I'm a solicitor and I'm calling to inform you that you have in fact inherited a house.
This is it.
It's all ours.
What did that girl just say?
She must be related to you.
This is going to make one incredible hotel.
What will become of us?
We could always try haunting.
Get out, get out.
Hello!
Get out, get out, get out.
Me again!
Get out, get out.
This is all happening so fast.
It's your classic haunted house.
Nothing to be scared of, is there?
Ghosts on BBC One.
A Richard Herring-less Square Theatre podcast in 2023. Simon Formey talked about how during the making of Series 5, he didn't really watch the US version as he didn't want to steal any of the ideas.
She's coming, here she comes!
Oh, okay, fine. I see all of you. I admit your existence. Happy?
Well, I mean, what is happening?
Great. But this is our house now. We inherited it, so it is time for you all to leave. It has been nice to meet you, thank you. But you can go haunt someone else now.
In 2022, on BBC Sounds, they created a podcast called Inside Ghosts, where they spoke about all things episode by episode of Ghosts. In 2023, the podcast returned to talk about the fifth and final series of Ghosts.
Talking to Jim Howick about his favourite ever Ghost episode, either real or imagined. Actually, no, just real, because that'll be weird.
Yeah.
So, Jim, which episode have you selected as your favourite one?
I have gone for Woodworm Men.
Yes.
The Woodworm Men, Series 3, Episode 3.
Yes. And why have you picked that wonderful episode?
Well, Nathan.
Yes.
The Woodworm Men, I think, came about as an idea, a sort of natural step in sitcom land.
Yeah,
and given that it's Series 3,
yes,
is to sort of take characters on holiday. We thought, well, let's find a way to get them camping in the grounds.
Well, what are you all doing out here? You don't have to stay out, only me and Mike. Did the Woodworm Men banish you? Well, no, yeah, they're fumigating.
So, you know, that's actually became kind of secondary in a way. We had a reason for bringing them outside.
Yeah.
And it appealed, obviously, to the very basic joy of Pat, of course, and the captain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as ranking officer, I suggest a full inventory before you start. Patrick, at the double, quick smart.
All right. Sleeping bag, sleeping mat, mallet, tent pegs.
I know, and what's that there?
Oh, that's a puller. Yes, that's for the tent pegs.
Yes, I knew that, just checking.
Right.
But what I love about the ep is exactly how we serve everyone else in it.
Yes, there's so much going on. Kitty's watching Grease.
Exactly.
And what are you up to, Kitty?
I'm going to watch Grease. Do you want to watch it with me?
Of course not.
Alison says I'll like it.
So we're corrupting Kitty's innocence,
yes,
by changing the channel.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger's up there.
Watching Nightmare on Elm Street. We undermine the kind of, I would say, the sort of two outgoing sort of bravado characters in the group, Robin and Julian. I would say that them two are the sort of the muscle, really.
Of course, yeah.
And we make them sort of scaredy cats.
Yeah, of course.
Sort of extreme degree.
Oh, there's some like Blair Witch sort of filming shots.
Sort of
yeah, they're really.
BBC Ghosts has been a very popular show around the world and especially in the UK. It's been so popular enough that early in 2023, for comic relief, they did a whole mini episode starring Kylie Minogue, who can also see ghosts, not just Alison.
I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. I should be so lucky in love.
Excellent. Yes, very nice.
Okay, it's Kylie.
Yeah, thank you.
Extraordinary.
Kylie can see ghosts.
Seriously?
After every series has aired, on YouTube, the BBC released a blooper reel of that series. This has slowly become a fan favourite pastime for the fans of the show whilst they're waiting for more and interesting facts and news about when the show will return. BBC Ghosts ended with a fifth and final series, which ended on the 10th of November 2023, with the final ever episode airing on Christmas Day 2023, or in the Christmas period. As of recording, this has not yet been announced whether or not it's a Christmas Day surprise or a December surprise, because they previously done a December special and a Christmas Day special. Also on the Richard Herring Leicester Square Theatre podcast, Simon Formby, who was talking about US Ghosts, briefly mentioned that there's going to be a remake of Ghosts in Spain and in Germany, and how he's really excited to see how that works. In 2023, Richard Herring has been hosting... In 2023, Richard Herring has been going on tour with his podcast, Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre Podcast, or as other people call it, Reholistaba. In September, he released the episode he recorded with Lawrence Pickard, aka Larry, and Ben Wilbond, as they had both recently worked on another programme together for Dave that didn't manage to make a full series. Now, what else had happened on that panel is that they had a large tract of audience members coming to listen to it who are fans of the Six Idiots themselves and a fan of the BBC show Ghosts. In that episode and in subsequent episodes that a actor that has appeared in Ghosts or a writer or one of the Six Idiots appear on an episode of the podcast, Richard Herring mentions how much he likes the programme and the US version, and that his daughter is also a big fan. Many times they've also said that this programme is edging towards at that moment in a child's life where it's at the brink, it's at the point where they say, should you be watching this? And it's like, feels naughty watching it, but really, you know, you are allowed to watch it because it's actually a family-friendly programme. It's just because it's on at 8:30. It's trying to stand between here's some slightly almost sounding rude bits, but aren't rude enough to say, no, you're not allowed to watch it, but are rude enough to make the kid feel like they're watching something that they really shouldn't be watching. Richard Herring has also given a wide platform for fans to learn more facts about the show that can't attend the BFI screenings and haven't seen them online, so they learn more about it. And at the end of the series, when they finished airing on TV, the people working behind the scenes had shared some more clipboards that had been used when they're shooting a scene, and one of them for the episode for one of the episodes about death, they had used the image of Simon Formby's character Death from Horrible Histories.
And are there anything either that you're particularly pleased that landed really well, or anything you're surprised didn't, or anything you were surprised that did land so well?
I was delighted that people bought the Mike can now see the ghost.
Yeah.
Hope that's replicated in living rooms across the country.
I mean, the scary baby was scary, actually. I have to say.
Freaky. That was also me.
Yeah. I was a bit worried whether that was going to be a post-watershed moment then. Just to sort of to begin with, obviously the first episode was very much around April Fool's Day, and is that something? I mean, are there any particular pranksters on the set? Is April Fool's something that you kind of subscribe to?
I never remember what day of the week it is. Normally I remember that it's April Fool's Day on like the 3rd, and then a lot of things that happen to me on the Monday make sense. The only person who's actually, I think, ever got me was about 3 or 4 years ago. Kyle put a thing on Facebook saying he was becoming a carpenter. And I was like, good on him, actually.
Who did? Was that me? No, was it Ben?
That was me.
Oh, that wasn't me.
Was it?
What? Who did it? Who did it?
Kyle.
Oh, Kyle did. Again, it's great to meet you.
They've never met, yeah.
Kyle, how does it feel when Simon tries to take your work away from you like that? Take credit.
I was a carpenter for a bit.
Yeah.
That's all I've
Did
got.
I do that?
Did I do
Busy, he's busy. You don't know what he's been up to, he's busy.
Any other pranks on set? I know there's a bit of corpsing that always goes on the set.
No.
Fair bit. I don't know who starts that.
And has that been the case in the most recent series as well? That Jim is the person who is the least capable of.
I think no. Jim has been unfairly maligned, mainly by me, so I know that for a fact. Because Matt's almost as bad. Everyone's got their moment, and Matt it tends to be when there's not. If a camera is not pointing at Matt, for some reason this brings an impishness out of him. Normally, when you look at anything in the outtakes, if there's a number of people having a problem, it's a shot that Matt's not in. It's because he's standing next to the camera doing lines off and has decided to try and ruin it for...
What I try to do...
Right, okay.
When it's not my coverage, I really want to keep it fresh for the person who's in front of the camera. I want to give them something spontaneous to respond to, so I mix up the line readings a bit. Just for that purpose, just as a generous sort of gift to
You are
my
so
colleagues.
generous.
Yeah.
Thank you. No problem.
And the other thing that's happened since you were last here is that as well as, I think it was a Christmas special last year, and since then there's been comic relief. Can you tell us about that? You had a really major extra special guest on that one.
Why are we talking as if...
Is it still a secret?
If it's a secret. Does anyone not know that we did a sketch with Kylie Minogue?
Should we tell everyone who it was?
I was doing that thing,
Who
when
was it?
the host knows the answer to the question, but kind of just lets you go for it. Tell us about working with Kylie Minogue.
Well, everyone asks, is she nice? And I have to say...
No.
She's terrible. No. The crew created a very... they put her in a room down in the house, a separate room, and sort of made it really nice. And then she kept coming into our green room because she's going, "Where are the guys? I want to come and sit with the guys." And she was lovely, and
she was after
told
our
us
snacks.
so many stories.
She's like, "Where's Julian? Where's the guy with no trousers on? Where's he got?"
And so what's happened here?
Like, stop following me around. I'm not like that in real life. Stop following me around.
What's happened here is that I was being genuine, and now Simon's got us into trouble.
They made it all horrible.
She brought wine. She brought wine for us. Oh, yeah. She hasn't got a problem. It was a gift.
She did really love you, though, Simon. You had a real connection.
Yeah.
I've
Hold
got
on,
an
hang on.
amazing photo of
Oh, yeah.
Simon with no trousers on, as Julian and Kylie walking side by side, having the biggest natter all the way up the stairs. And I've got this photo. It's legs are just there. She's tiny.
And then Simon at the end of it went, "So when are we going to come and come to your next concert?" Just asked for tickets.
When are you going to give us tickets for your next
Vegas.
concert?
No.
She just went, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, any time."
I'm not sure she's going to
Not
like you
anymore.
as much as
Other,
she sees this.
other accents are available.
As well as writing the fifth series, the Six Idiots also cobbled together to write a Button House archive book, which is an in-universe, in-world book based on the BBC sitcom. It had facts, figures, statistics. It had a whole section where you'd learn recipes. You learn about the diaries of some of the characters. Not only did they release it as a hardback book with a load of images to make the book more vibrant, amazing, and really, really incredible, they also included an audiobook which had the whole cast, including Charlotte Ritchie as Alison, and had the mumbles of Kyle Smith-Spino as Mike. The reason why I say mumbles is because there's a section in the book where she says something and you hear in the background. The book was as successful as the show, with the cast getting rave reviews for their performance in the audiobook and for the loveliness of the book. So lovely, so that they went around signing a load of copies. Also in 2023, the cast appeared at MTM Comic Con to talk all things ghosts. The US version of Ghosts has also been a mega success for the cast. The Six Idiots are titled as executive producers in the credits, but really, only at the very beginning did they have an executive involvement in. During Series 2 of the US version, Matthew Benton, who appears in the UK version as Thomas Thornton, is also in it as a small cameo, playing the US version of Pat's live action counterpart. What I mean by that is that there was an episode where they were shooting a program that included one of the deaths from one of the ghosts. And that episode, they chose to on the US equivalent of Pat, called Pete. And so they got Matthew Benton in to play the taller, way taller version of Pete. Ghost US has also landed on the iPlayer with the first two series in the UK, and with the third series hoping to come out soon. A few fans of the UK version have slowly come to warmth around it, because even though it's the same concept, during the second series mainly they altered it so that the ghosts could be more of them, there could be new ways of interacting with them and make it more fresh for a US audience. Due to the SAG-AFTRA strike, the UK version of Ghosts has aired on CBS in the US whilst they waited for the strike to end, so that they could still fill the Ghost fans with more content. Due to the strike being over, they are currently trying to get back to work on a brand new series of the US version of Ghosts.
Hello, and welcome to Button FM. I'm Pat Butcher. Boo 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 boo, the greatest teacher in the area, Pat Butcher. And joining me this week is renowned poet Thomas Thorne. How are you, Thomas? Thomas, we're on the air. And we'll be right back with Thomas after this song from local band Chicken and Chips. It's called Where's the Cream? And of course, your poetry rhymes, which is A, harder, and B, shows you have a real passion for the English language. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And we'll be back with Thomas after these advertisements.
In this programme, you have heard voices of Tom Mason, Justin Johnson, Martha Howard Douglas, Jim Howick, Lawrence Pickard, Matthew Benton, and the rest of the Ghost cast. Thank you for listening. Roll outro. You have been listening to the wonderful world of sitcoms, presented by Tom Mason. This was a TGM production. You also heard voices from the cast of Ghosts, the BBC sitcom. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode, and hopefully you come back for more. Sorry, this episode was incredible, and hopefully you learned a lot of facts and enjoyed the clips and interviews that were played. You also heard an interview from a live event at the BFI South Bank British Film Institute. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you all for more antics in the wacky world of Tom Mason. If you have any suggestions of what sitcoms you want me to cover in future episodes from the UK and beyond, from the past, from the present, and upcoming sitcoms, that you would like me to cover in a future episode, either in this series or in any future series I do of this show, please let me know over on Twitter at TGM Productions, and let me know and I'll see if I can make it possible. If you have any suggestions of ways of improving the show, please also tweet me at TGM Productions. That's where you can find out more information on the show and everything else that TGM Productions does going forwards from now and beyond, from the past, from the future. That where all the key information will go. If you don't use Twitter, TGM Productions is also available on Facebook, so you can go and find and send me suggestions over on Facebook at TGM Productions on Facebook. Thank you for listening. Bye.